Mm.
So how has the Masnawi acted as an interpretive mediator for the Quran for Farsi speakers? I mean, I remember hearing that in my more Salafic days, and I just thought, how blasphemous. We have so many
Yeah.
interpretations, tafsirs of the Quran, Tabari, Ibn Kathir. Why would Farsi speakers turn to a poet in order to better
Yeah,
understand the Quran?
exactly. You know, it's interesting. Actually, someone who introduced me at an Afghan masjid explained this. An Afghan gentleman who was Persian speaking, understood Rumi, he even took offense at this statement. And I will go even further. A lot of poets said that the Masnavi is like the Quran in Persian, as if it's just a translation. And poets from, Qasama Anvar in like the 1400s said this, all the way until Alam Iqbal in the 20th century said that he has basically written a Quran in Pahlavi, in the Persian language. It's something like Masnavi, Ma'navi, Molavi has Quran be zaban Pahlavi or something to this effect. And there's another poem attributed to Jami. He says, Nemiguyam ka an Ali janab has payambar wali darad kitab. I wouldn't say that man of high station, Molana, is a prophet, but he did have a book. The Masnavi is almost at that level, right? It's not wahi, it's not revelation, it's ilham, it's inspiration. So Persians really did believe that the Masnavi is kind of like a way for someone who can't directly access the Quran in Arabic to understand the text or the meanings, the deeper ideas there, right? Why? Well, back then people didn't really translate the Quran. Translating the Quran is more a product of modernity. You do find Quran with kind of like interspliced, like they'll have a big Arabic text and a very small underneath. They'll just give literal word for word translations for people who don't know every Arabic word. But the idea was that you should be reading it in Arabic. So most people just can't really access the text directly. We're kind of like in a Catholic Church pre-Protestant Reformation thing where you're a Persian peasant. You can't even access literary Persian, let alone Arabic. So you don't know what's in there.
Hmm.
So how does the average person access the Quran or the ideas in the Quran? It's through the Masnavi, right? This text that it's a very simple. Now, for us, it doesn't feel simple because how many years have passed? But then it was in the contemporary Persian, and it's very easy to understand. Some of the parables very clearly are aimed at just average common folk. In fact, Maulana, he has this beautiful anecdote in his biography where someone from the royal court complained. He said, Maulana, there's no doubt that he's high up there. But why is it that everywhere he finds some sort of street sweeper or farmer, he becomes his friend? This is not becoming of him. And Maulana goes and tells him, well, didn't we have Nasaji and Hakkaki and Najjar and Zajjaj and Hallaj and all the Sufis at Tar? They were all from the middle class. They weren't high class. They were just people who worked with their hands. What's wrong with that? Right? So Rumi's clearly, when he's telling a story about a fly that lands on a piece of straw that's in a puddle of urine that a donkey has urinated. He's talking to a person who rides a donkey, some farmer, right? He's not talking to the king. Okay. And the Masnavi, it's interesting. I have two weekly classes for the Masnavi, one that's public and one that's with just a student. So every week I'm reading, 2, 3 hours of the Masnavi, and we read with a commentary. And it's astonishing how often Rumi is either directly quoting, paraphrasing, or alluding to the Quran and the Hadith. So this is not just something, coming out of nowhere. Almost every story has some sort of reference or direct quote or even extolling you to read the Quran. He says, if you don't understand this, go read this, and he'll give the verse. He'll quote a few words from it. So it is very much a text that is interacting with the Quran. So you can't read it in isolation from that.